to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
What is up, Lock Shoppers? Welcome to the Lock Shop presented by Play Alberta right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Thank you, everyone, for listening live across our audio channels, watching on YouTube or listening on podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Matt Iwanek in for Dustin Nielson today because Dusty is in Montreal to call Alouettes Argos Thursday night on TSN. He's there to call that game. So I am in today. I am in tomorrow. Huss will be joining me momentarily. Want to remind everyone on the promo codes for EST and Play Alberta. EST Sports, deposit 20, get a $50 free sports bet. Deposit 5 when you use promo code YEG50 and you'll get a $50 free sports bet. We will talk a lot about Week 7 in the Canadian Football League. Thursdays are my favorite day on the Lock Shop. In the fall, Fridays are great because Dusty and Huss go through all the NFL picks. But during the summer, Thursdays are my favorite, especially because I get to jump on generally because Dusty is gone. I get to jump on with Huss and we get to talk a lot of CFL. There's been some line movement even from yesterday to today, even from this earlier this week to today. I don't know if I have the full lines, but I think yesterday I had Saskatchewan was -1. It was Saskatchewan -1 against BC. That line has shifted overnight to BC -3. A 4-point swing on that one. So the Riders plus money as they head out to BC. So we'll get into full Week 7. The Open Championship underway down at Portrush in Northern Ireland. There's a multi-way tie to top the leaderboard. There's 6 people tied atop the leaderboard at 4 under, including Matt Fitzpatrick, Lucas Glover. I don't know why a bunch of people just were walking into the studio just now. You guys missing something? Oh, you guys are all looking for Reed's mic sock. Okay, perfect. It's nothing important. Terrell Hatton, Scotty Scheffler amongst the group that are at -3 as well. Rory McIlroy, he's -2. Justin Thomas is -2. Shane Lowry, I put a little bit of money on. He is -1. Your top Canadian right now, Nick Taylor, +2. Corey Connors is +3. Pendrith is +4. Mackenzie Hughes is +8. So we got the Open Championship first round action underway. Weather earlier was rainy. Doesn't look rainy right now out at Portrush. As for the football game tonight, I'd have to look at what the forecast has for the Owls and the Argos. There's also CBL action. Duck Dad already in the nasty chat with his Canadian Premier League parlay. Forge and Atletico to win. York and Vancouver FC. I forgot what BTTS was. You guys just told me this one last week. Both teams to score. I should have remembered that one. Valor Calvary over 1.5 as well. That's +607. Duck Dad has that one going. So I didn't know there was Canadian Premier League action today. I saw something where Calvary's having like a 4-day soccer camp here in Edmonton, and I'm disgusted by it. Not going to lie. A Calgary team coming to Edmonton to do a camp. Ugh. One of these days, we just, it'd be great to get FC Edmonton back. It needs to be redone. It needs to get proper. It needs a proper field, the right ownership. But I'm not holding out my hope that that's going to be coming anytime soon. But then I'll follow the CPL again a little bit closer. I'm just like Calgary's coming up to Edmonton to host a camp. It's just feels dirty. Feels very dirty. Dixon is taking the over on Montreal. A good idea. You want to know something? I'll throw this out there. Stay tuned for Jay's play of the day later today. He's not so sure on that one. And I understand where I'll get Huss's opinion on that one a little bit later. You got an Argos offense that does struggle, with Nick Arbuckle. They're not as strong of an offense, without Chad Kelly. Right now in the Canadian Football League, Toronto, they have 20. They're the second worst scoring team offensively. Offensively, they've only scored 110 points. Exact same as the Edmonton Elks. So not exactly a high offense team. Defensively, They're a team that gives up over 30 points. So the over-under on that one is 51. It's right. It's a perfect number, I would say, for that one. But I do, if the Owls defense is showing up, if the Owls defense comes out to play, this is a game that I do see the under. These two teams did meet just a few weeks ago. Week 1, 28-10, Montreal versus Toronto. Now, the tough part of comparing week 1 to later is that, week 1, there's a lot of gelling going on. So I don't know how much you can make out of that. The Toronto defense, though, only kept them to 28 points, but the Montreal defense held Toronto to 10. That's 38. And the over-under right now is set at 51. So I feel like, if anything, the under would look a little bit better, but Jay's going to have a little bit more of that with his Jay's play of the day. In EST specials, we've got the early bird bet. I've got Montreal Alouettes to win and Ticats -1.5. That is plus 121. So just head to Play Alberta or download the app. Click on EST specials. Jay's play of the day will be up. We've got the grandest parlay that will go up a little bit later as well. And that, we'll build a little bit of a lock shop parlay today for Week 7 of the Canadian Football League as well. And with that said, let's bring in Huss from Winnipeg Sports Talk. And Huss, how are we doing today? We ready for Week 7 in the CFL?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm ready. I don't know how ready the Bombers are. Just checking out the roster for tomorrow's game. Dalton Schoen going on the 6th game, injured late in garbage time against Calgary, brutal injury. And then this is the one it'll be very interested to see how they do against a great Calgary defense. Stanley Bryant is going to the one game, and he is the pillar of the Bomber offensive line. So they're in a bit of a pickle going into this one. And I can't believe how big this line is for this Alouettes Argos game tonight. I mean, I guess I can. Toronto has given up a lot of points as of late. They give it the 50 burger. Gilgeous-Alexander's back. But it's crazy. I mean, the Argos got to figure out a way to get some wins at some point here pretty soon, Matty. Or we could be talking about, them in Ottawa being on the verge of getting lapped and a crossover from the West.
Yeah, I was talking about it with Will on the morning show today. It was from an Edmonton Elks perspective. Like, you really hope that Montreal could beat Toronto tonight, especially, and Hamilton could beat Ottawa because, if you're looking at a shot at the playoffs, the West is just so tight at the top, with Calgary, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg especially, but BC's right there it's not easy. This is by far not even close to being easy. But if those other two teams stay down, you just have to find a way to pass one Western team and you would get a playoff spot. Again, a lot easier said than done, especially when you already lost the season series to the BC Lions and the teams ahead, to me, are better than the BC Lions. But yeah, Edmonton's in that category too next week against Saskatchewan. Those three teams, while the season doesn't start till Labor Day, for those three teams, they may not matter by the time you get to Labor Day if you can't find a way to get these victories. And it might not even matter if Chad Kelly comes back. So Toronto can't get too far behind. But I also understand to a degree why this line is the way it is, because Gilgeous-Alexander looks excellent when he's in the lineup with the Montreal Alouettes. The line is now Montreal -10.5. When I sent our CFL picks yesterday, it was Montreal -10. I think that opened up around
8, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say 7.5, 8 or something when the line opened up this week.
That's what it was when we did CFL 110 on Tuesday.
What do you make of this game? Is that number too high? Like that, I really feel like Toronto's a team we saw they could all of a sudden just step up when they really need to and maybe put up some points. Now that comes defensively and special teams to a degree. Yeah. But is that, expecting any rush from Gilgeous-Alexander or anything? What are you looking at when it comes to Owls and Argos?
To be honest, I mean, I think now listen, it's a huge number. I mean, I had to really hold my nose taking Montreal at 8.5 earlier in the week. Guess I feel a little better now seeing that it's 10.5, but at the same time, I mean, the Argos, we're waiting for this Argo team to sort of show up this season. Now, I get it. They've got quarterback issues and Chad Kelly's not there, but he's not coming this weekend. But to me, this is going to be an opportunity for Montreal to get right. I mean, they've had a couple losses that I don't think they're sitting very well with them, particularly the BC one a couple weeks ago. They got their guy back in. It's time to sort of reestablish themselves as the number one team in the East. So I do like Montreal tonight. I'd have a tough time laying 10.5. As I said, I had a tough time doing with the 8. I mean, double digits, a big divisional game against two teams that know each other quite well. But I do think it'll be Montreal tonight, and it should be a big game for Gilgeous-Alexander, I expect, if you're looking at props.
And I don't want to steal his thunder too much. Jay's going to come up later today with his play of the day, but I think he's leaning towards an under in this game. What do you make of, it's 51 in this one? Like, the first time these two teams met, it was week 1. It was 28-10 for Montreal. But again, only week 1. So there's, you're still just trying to find yourselves as teams. Do you think the Argos have enough offense in them to get this to the over?
That's a great question. To be honest, on the road against Montreal, who's got a really good defense. I mean, I'm not counting on it. I don't know whether I'll play the total for the game tonight, but I think I would lean to the under. And I'm thinking the same thing about tomorrow's game, which is actually a 50 between Winnipeg and Calgary. I mean, to me, if the Bombers are going to win this game, they're going to need to control the time of possession. They're going to need to control the football, move the chains, although that does get a little more challenging without Stanley Bryant. What are you seeing the number for the BC Sask game right now?
Okay, this is yesterday when I sent out the picks. It was Sask -1. I've seen the line earlier this week. I feel like at one point it was Sask -3. Right now, I've got BC -3. So from when I sent the picks to all of us yesterday to now, which is less than 24 hours, that line has moved from Riders -1 to BC -3.
It's crazy. I mean, every time I've looked over, I'm like, what? I was surprised that it flipped to BC being like a 1-point favorite yesterday. And now, 2.5 or 3 points up. That's people seem to be pretty high on Nathan Rourke. I caution people now. And I think this is a great time to get in on Sask, to be perfectly honest.
I agree.
I mean, the Riders are a good team. I know they got waxed by Calgary last week. Calgary's been playing some great football. We're going to see how well BC matches up against the top team because, I mean, obviously they've beaten Edmonton a couple times. They had that crazy win in Montreal.
But MBT led Montreal. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, so then the Riders are going to be in a pretty ornery mood, I would suggest, as well, after what happened last week. So that's going to be a real fun game on Saturday night. But it's just wild how, Jake Mayer isn't starting. Like, we're not missing anything that's happened. This is just a lot of avalanche of money on Nathan Rourke and the Lions.
Yeah, it must be because, I know earlier in the week, their injury report was rather long. On Tuesday for their first day of practice, Mary Alford did not practice. Bain Jr. limited. Tavon Campbell limited. Roland Milligan did not practice. Marcus Sales did not practice. But then you go to Wednesday, and a lot of those guys practice, and most of them were full. So, like, Roland Milligan was a full participant yesterday. Marcus Sales was a full participant yesterday. And Tavon Campbell was a full participant yesterday. So even from a defensive perspective, like, if that was flipped, I could understand why the line was moving, that you're looking at the defense of the Riders being a little decimated, and okay, now you're going on the BC lines because maybe there's a couple players for the Riders that aren't going to be there, but they're going to be there. And it was a Jeremiah Mazzoli-led BC Lions team, and had they not thrown that pick 6 at the end of the first half, maybe the Lions put up a better fight there. But that was also Jake Mayer-led Saskatchewan Roughriders team. Mm-hmm. And the Riders, for the most part, handled the BC Lions rather well a few weeks ago in my eyes. And now you're giving them both their starting quarterbacks in Trevor Harris and Nathan Rourke. And Nathan Rourke was still limited at practice this week. I know Farhan reported yesterday that Rourke said he's feeling better than he did last week going into the game, but he's still not 100%. And I agree with you. I think the Riders going to be a little pissed off with the loss that they had to the Stampeders last week, especially when they had the advantage of that postponement. I would think would help the home team more than it helps the visiting team that had to go stay in U of R dorms. I don't understand full line movement, but I think right now that you can getting plus money on the Saskatchewan Roughriders, or you can just take them with some points. That's a nice thing to jump on because I'm not officially sold on the BC Lions with what Winnipeg did to them in back-to-back games.
Yeah,
and then the fact that Montreal came down to, if it wasn't for a Montreal penalty on their touchdown or when they took the lead, the kickoff would have been different, and maybe they don't get in a position to kick that field goal. Like there's a lot of different things that played out well for the BC Lions at the end, but it wasn't a confidence booster for me, and I don't think beating Edmonton's a confidence booster right now.
No, listen, hey, you beat Saskatchewan at home? Yeah. That'll be a big confidence booster, and I think that'll be a big statement for BC. We'll just see whether it can happen. And then, the one game that hasn't had any line movement, I guess the Bombers Stamps really hasn't in the last couple of days, but Hamilton's still 1.5-point favorites against Ottawa in the finale on Sunday night. But this should be a fun one tonight. Usually you like to see games maybe thought to be a little closer as opposed to double-digit spreads. But, hey, we're going to see Gilgeous-Alexander get back. We're going to see that Montreal offense get rolling, and we will definitely see a big challenge for the Toronto Argonauts to try and hang around and be in this game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and Austin Mack returns to the lineup for the Montreal Alouettes as well. Both these teams coming off bye weeks. So, the thing is, you just never know with how things are going to play out. You just never know who's going to step up. I'm just never going to be sold on Nick Arbuckle, so I am expecting Montreal to do well, but I really want to see how Gilgeous-Alexander is. Now, maybe part of that is selfishly is that Gilgeous-Alexander is my quarterback in my fantasy football league, so him and Tyson Philpott, I'd like to see that connection get back going together a little bit, but this will be an interesting game. Okay, let's get into the game tomorrow. It is the rematch of the Stampede Bowl. The Stamps did go to Regina last week, but the Bombers had the bye week. Right now, -3.5 for the Bombers. You mentioned those injuries of Dalton Schoen and Stanley Bryan. How much does that change, or does it at all, of what you think we're going to see tomorrow between those two teams?
It certainly changes my confidence level on the Bombers doing what everyone expects them to do, and that is get Calgary back and steamroll a team at home like they normally do and win their 14th straight game after a bye. But I mean, you're talking about two of the most important players on the roster being out. And this coming off of a game where they were completely manhandled with those guys in the lineup in every aspect of the football game. It goes without saying that all the intangibles and the history and the trends favor the Bombers. What's been happening on the field right now, I think, is favoring the Calgary Stampeders. And this is a team that comes in. You want to talk about confidence booster. I mean, they are coming off two incredible wins against the two teams that were perceived. Both were undefeated as the class of the West. And right now, they've turned heads, and it's almost like Calgary's the team to beat. But they have an opportunity to really put an exclamation mark on this great start to the season if they can come in and win in Winnipeg and Princess Auto Stadium. That would also clinch the season series for Calgary against Winnipeg. They do have another game coming up a little later on. So it's a huge game for the Bombers, and we're going to find out, how deep this team is and if they are able to rally against a very good opponent and do it without their most important guy on the offensive line and their number one receiver.
I find, just looking at the standings, the Calgary Stampeders have only given up 91 points this season. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers have given up 94, and then it goes 112 by the Montreal Alouettes. The difference is, though, like between Calgary and Winnipeg, Calgary's played one more game, and they still have given up 3 less points, and they are by far further. Like, that is a strong defense, and I'm stunned at how good that defense is this soon. When they had 12 players turn over from last year. It's a brand new defense in every single position, and they have come out to show themselves as a top unit. So this is going to be an interesting defensive battle. The thing, though, that will always benefit the Bombers, though, it's that home record. It's in the last 40 some meetings or whatever it is at Princess Auto Field, the Bombers have only lost 6 of them. I don't know how are the ticket sales. I'm assuming close to a sellout, maybe.
Oh, it's been sold out for 2 weeks.
Oh, this one's been sold out already?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Like at the last game 2 weeks ago, they announced that there was less than 1,000 seats left for this one, and it sold out pretty quickly. So, yeah, they're already moving on to fill in the place for Friday, August 1st, I believe, is the next home game. But yeah, it should be a great one. We're going to have, and I think I mentioned this to you before, Milt Stiegel is going to be returning to the panel.
Yes.
And doing it here in Winnipeg, of course, after tragically losing his son.
Oh, are they on location?
They are. Yeah, they are being. Wilt is going to be here. So that is going to be, I think, a really emotional, it'll be like a 32,000 person group hug from Milt coming back there. And it'll be great to see him. I mean, still everyone's heart hurts for what the family, went through losing Chase. But I mean, he was a young guy that we really kind of saw him grow up right in front of our eyes. He was always around the football facility and whatnot. So it'll be a bit of an emotional night, I think, for a lot of people, and I'm sure for Milt as well. But Bombers got to figure out and find a way to do it. By the way, you'll get a kick out of this. So Sean is out.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that, okay, now is the time that Dylan Mitchell's going to come in. No, they're going with Cody Case. Like, how far in Mike O'Shea's doghouse is Dylan Mitchell? He's not been able to play this year. I don't even think he's on the roster if they don't give him the signing bonus that they did to get him over here. It looks like a lost sunk cost right now. But you wonder if in this scenario, this far into the season, Dylan Mitchell can't get in, you wonder whether he's ever going to see the playing field as a Winnipeg Blue Bomber.
He had such promise in that first season he had with the Elks. He was able to get the breakaway speed, get open, make the big catches, and he just hasn't been able to find that consistency. And you're right. Like, I've actually forgot the last couple of weeks that he was there and didn't even think about him possibly. I didn't even think about looking at him on the roster. Although, like, I will say, Wheatfall, he's a nice little player. And Claircius, what?
Kevin's Claircius, yes. He's a Canadian receiver. I think his second rounder last year.
He's looked pretty good this season as well, too. So the Bombers have done a good job of generally finding receivers, too. They're the ones that found Dalton Schoen. Had Kenny Lawler before he came to Edmonton, brought it back before he goes to Hamilton as well. I know losing Schoen hurts, but with Dembski, with Wheatfall, with that core, I actually still like the Bombers receiving core. That I don't think they lose too much without Dalton Schoen right now. I like taking the Bombers in this one, and even with minus 3.5. As good as, maybe I'm disrespecting Calgary here just a little bit, but I think it's just so difficult to go into Winnipeg and beat the Bombers. And the Bombers are going to be pissed off. They've been sitting on this for 2 weeks. Yeah, exactly. Right? Where the Calgary Stampeders had to go get ready for the Riders. They might be coming in feeling pretty good about themselves and like feeling they're in a good spot. And maybe that's also a way that the Bombers catch them. So I do like the Bombers minus 3.5 still in this one. What about you?
Well, and short week for Calgary as well. I mean, like, they were supposed to play on Friday.
Yeah.
We all know the ordeal. They ended up playing on Saturday. So you get back, I mean, you maybe have one day of practice, a walkthrough, and you're on the plane for a Thursday game right now. So certainly the schedule favors the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in this situation. And yeah, listen, I'm going to give the Bombers the benefit of the doubt here. But to me, like, the line, I'm not sure the line should be as big as it is right now. There hasn't been any line movement based on the injury report. I was a little surprised with that based on the guys that are out for Winnipeg. But over and over again, this team has found ways to win with other players out, and they will be an ornery bunch considering what this team did to them in that game last week out. So yeah, I'm going to ride with the Bombers in this one. Although I think it might be more, much like the Saskatchewan BC game. I think at this point you might be wise to play the money line as opposed to the spread, because I really do think that this will be a tight game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, this could be just such a huge statement for the Calgary Stampeders. You go like a stretch of 3 games where you beat Winnipeg at home, you go to Saskatchewan and beat them, you go to Winnipeg and beat them. That's a huge statement that you could just make to the rest of the CFL, where you might be sitting there saying we're the best in the CFL. There's no one better than us.
I mean, obviously Montreal would have something to say about that when these teams play, but
But Calgary will be feeling good.
Calgary goes in and wins this game. When the CFL power polls come out next week, the Calgary Stampeders will be number one on every list if they win this game on Friday night.
And heck, even if they lose this one, that's for a 3-game stretch to go 2-1 with 2 Bombers and a Rider game in there. Just, it doesn't matter what team you are. That's a good record to have there. So they're into that gravy time. When it comes to Saskatchewan, BC, we talked about it a little bit there. Do you think BC has it in them to take advantage of a Riders team that just lost? Because here's the one thing about the Riders this year. Nothing too crazy when it comes to the victories. Nothing too sexy when it comes to victory. They have the one against BC, but it took a walk-off kickoff return to beat the Toronto Argonauts. In the first week, Ottawa played them rather well. Do you think that this is a chance BC going back home that they could take advantage of a Saskatchewan Roughrider team?
Well, listen, it's a great opportunity at coming off the win with the offense looking the way that it did. I just don't know how much of that was BC and how much of that was a complete no-show by the Elks defense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, 30 carries for a running back. I'm still trying to find out when the last time a guy had 30 carries in a CFL
I think
game.
Dusty said it was the 60s or something.
I mean,
hey, don't worry. The Elks ran the ball 5 times in the game. They really,
established the run.
Yeah.
Things on the line of scrimmage. I mean, for a quarterback to go well over 300 and a running back to carry it 30 times for 174 yards. I mean, they dominated, but it's going to be, they're moving up a couple weight classes when it comes to the defense of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And listen, I'm still a believer in Trevor Harris. I think they've got a lot of weapons there. They certainly have a great running game, although it was non-existent last week against Calgary. So listen, right now, to me, this is a real toss-up game, but I do think Saskatchewan is a better team than BC. Obviously, BC is going to be at home, but I think the value right now, certainly with the line moving to 3, as you said earlier, to me, that's a Sask pick. And listen, I think at plus money, anywhere between plus 120, plus 125, plus 130, something like that. Sask is I would have never imagined we were going to get this number when they opened up as favorites earlier in the week.
Yeah, it's an interesting game too. BC, they're the best pass defense. They do a great job stopping the pass, giving up less than or just 180 yards per game. But they are one of the worst run defenses, 125 yards per game running the ball. Again, going back to last week, it's a good thing the Elks only ran the ball 5 times against the worst run defense in the Canadian Football League. But you got a Saskatchewan Roughriders team that's up there as one of the top running teams. Calgary's the best running team. It's followed very closely by Winnipeg and Sask. You got an AJ Ouellette. You've got a Kadeem Carey as a backup potentially as well. I know he backed up last week against Calgary. Going up against a BC Lions run defense, it's just not that good. And I think I would expect that Mark Mueller and the Riders will try to take advantage of that. And that in itself, I think it will give the Riders a bit of an edge in that one because they've got a solid running back in AJ Ouellette who could, had a very bad week last week. His numbers were quite poor. Running the ball. Receiving, he had a couple of decent catches. But AJ Ouellette last week, he had 6 carries for 9 yards. He caught the ball 6 times for 58, but he only got 9 yards rushing. This is a guy that, the 3 weeks prior, 96, 91, 139. I think he's ready to eat a little bit in this one. So, plus money to me for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. It's a nice one. And even if you just want to be a little safe, taking points with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, at 3 right now, they lose by a field goal, you got that push going on right there.
When you guys put your set your parlays, do you always do it with an odd like a 0.5 in it so that there's no pushes?
We would generally do that, yeah. So, but I'm looking at a parlay right now where I think I'm not even going to touch I might just do money line straight up. Unless I shift some lines a little bit here.
Who do you like in the Sunday game?
So that one we got Hamilton -1.5. Last week these two teams played. Hamilton was a big favorite in that one at one point.
Yeah.
Got up to 5.5, I think. I think that what it was.
They covered. They lost.
Ottawa covered 23-20. I think that was the shot for Ottawa. I think that was the shot in these two matches to try to get that win against Hamilton. I don't think we're going to see Hamilton's offense come out and not be able to put up as many points as we did like last week. Like I think they're going to go into Ottawa, put up a few more. It's when you have Bo Levi Mitchell and Kenny Lawler on that team and Tim White on that team. And I think that was the moment for Ottawa to possibly get that win against Hamilton. So I really like Hamilton this one. Bo even like maybe that's something I'll have to look at for tomorrow. But a Bo 2+ touchdowns, I think is, if you can grab that somehow in betting, I think is something to look at as well, because I think this guy is going to go out and light it up a little bit against the Ottawa Red Blacks. So I don't know. I'm not sold on Ottawa. Drew Brown's a good quarterback, but I just don't think their team is there. And I think if we're looking that, like, there's a potential here where it wouldn't surprise me in a few weeks with the guy that they added on their coaching staff and Rick Campbell, if we're hearing news that he's their new head coach.
Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned that. I mean, Bobby Dice is under a lot of pressure. I look at Ottawa in this situation the way I looked at the Elks last week when they were hosting Ottawa.
Yeah.
This is their season. Like, they've already lost 5 games. They lose at home to Hamilton and drop to 1-6. It's going to be incredibly unlikely that they are able to turn it around. And I guess you do make a good point. I mean, that could mean a coaching change. I mean, they've got a veteran guy on the staff that could take over. I really do like Drew Brown, and I think they've got a lot of weapons. I was impressed with the way they played last week. I think I might be on the other side and take the home dog in Ottawa to save their season. But again, this is a really tough pick. Very close one. Line hasn't moved. It's Hamilton -1.5. But I am with you. Being a bull prop of 2 passing touchdowns. I mean, you could do something like, Winnipeg to win, Saskatchewan to win, and then a Bo Levi passing prop for that last one if you want. Or you could just take Hamilton and just make a straight. I mean, if you put Hamilton, Bombers, and Saskatchewan together, Hamilton Bombers, you're looking at probably like over 5-1, and then I'm sure you guys will get a bit of a boost. So that might be something that you can make happen.
Yeah, straight money line, it's plus 482. If I was to go with some of if I took Bombers on the -3.5, if I took Ticats -1.5, then added Riders money line, that's plus 682. So then with the boost, you could play with that a little bit. I'm with you more though on the Bombers one. It's one where, like, if anything, I'd maybe bring that down to like 2.5 so that they could win by a field goal.
Yeah.
And you're still good there. And then keep Hamilton, maybe at that 1.5. Because I think Hamilton's, I don't know. I just don't see it. Like Hamilton, Ottawa, you came to Edmonton and you couldn't get it done out here. And right now we're looking at this Elks team and we're going like, they look pretty bad and you weren't able to beat this team. I'm not going to be sold. I'm not going to bet a lot on the Ottawa Red Blacks right now. It's like the same as it's hard to bet for the Edmonton Elks moving forward until they show otherwise. And it's going to be hard to bet on the Toronto Argonauts move forward otherwise, because those 3 teams are slowly getting left in the dust. And I say slowly, that could very quickly turn to fastly being left in the dust. But yeah, maybe that's something to look at where I just take out the Ticats -1.5 and go to Bo 2+ touchdown passes. I'll have to play something with that.
I do like the under. Again, I think I mentioned this yesterday. I do like the under 50 in the Calgary-Winnipeg game as well. Are you going to go to 50.5 and the under on that one, which just is a better number than, the Bombers on the money line right now, which is a chalkier number.
Who right now do you think is at the top of MOP? Early.
You know what? I mean, I think it's got to be VA. And I know he didn't have the big numbers early on, but let's face it, this team has done a complete 180 from where they were last year, coming off leading the team to the 2 arguably most impressive wins of the season. They're in first place. There's not anyone else that stands out above Vernon Adams to me right now, unless you might want to go with Bo Levi Mitchell. I mean, Bo's slinging it right now. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'd imagine he's right at or near the top of the leaders, and they're getting some wins.
Bo leads in passing, 1485 to Vernon's 1453. Bo's leading in TD passes at 11. Next is 7 with Arbuckle and Rourke. So Bo would be there. If he didn't get hurt, Gilgeous-Alexander would be at the top for me, but he got hurt, and he hasn't missed those games. But I think you were the one, as we were talking before the season about MOPs, you looked at Trey and you looked at Vernon Adams and said, what if they start playing? What if they're competing for the West? And I think that's what we're at right now. Like, well, Vernon Adams statistically second in passing. TDs doesn't have a lot. He's 5. But he's, it's hard not to look at the VA factor and how he's turned that team around. Like like
unlike a lot of other places, he doesn't need maybe to have the stats as much as the wins right now.
Yes.
I think. And often, I mean, heck, we saw Chad Kelly win the MOP. He didn't
what
have
I was going to say.
That were better than the other guys. They went 16-2. They're like, okay, this guy's been the quarterback in the number 1 team. And you add in the fact that this was the longest shot of all 9 teams to win the Grey Cup at the start of the year. And now they are where they are. Vernon Adams is going to be a guy that's going to get a lot of it. Gilgeous-Alexander, to me, if he comes back and plays the rest of the way and Montreal continues to roll, there's plenty of time for him to get back in it. But to me right now, it's Bo and it's Vernon Adams. And Gilgeous-Alexander has an incomplete grade on the season because he hasn't played enough.
It's interesting we didn't say Nathan Rourke there.
Yeah, well, I mean, same thing. He's missed a couple games. I mean, he's got the 2. Now,
I'll games against Edmonton, but then didn't look great against Montreal and did nothing against Winnipeg.
Exactly. So to me, like, he's live. I mean, if they go on a run and win 7 of the next 8 games, we'll be talking about Nathan Rourke right in that conversation at the top. But based on the first third of the season, it's not Nathan Rourke in the West, never mind the entire league.
No, it certainly is not. So there's weeks.
Lawler, one guy, I mean, I know we always focus in on the quarterbacks. Kenny Lawler is the one guy that, and I'll say this, if Bo misses a game or 2 and Kenny Lawler with a backup quarterback can put up these massive numbers, he'll get a little bit of steam too. But it's always going to a quarterback unless, like last year, everyone gets hurt and no one really has the complete resume of the season. Then you go to a great season by, one of the other offensive players.
That or Kenny Lawler has to keep his touchdown pace going. He's got 7 touchdowns in 5 games. If he does that over an 18-game season, it's 25 touchdowns. I don't know what the record is for CFL touchdowns in a season. I'd have to go look that up, but he'd have to keep some sort of pace like that. I would have to imagine if he's going to pass Bo and Bo doesn't get hurt. Well, week 7 tonight. Dustin Nielson on the call. Montreal taking on Toronto. Did Dustin tell you his schedule for this week?
I just knew that he was in Montreal tonight.
Then he's got to go to Vancouver for Saturday. They've taken him from Edmonton to fly him to Montreal to then fly him to Vancouver.
That's weird. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it is cool that he's getting to do a few more games with the Eastern Division teams, but
you got 2 games in the West this weekend. He could easily do Winnipeg, then BC Friday, Saturday. You've got Montreal, Ottawa hosting Thursday, Sunday. You've got Rod Smith out east already. You could just keep him out there for those. But yeah, Dusty's got to do the long flight tomorrow from Montreal all the way to Vancouver, which has got to be like a 5-hour flight or something.
I'd say at least.
It's 4-ish to Toronto from here.
From Edmonton.
Yeah. Edmonton to Toronto is like 4-ish. So it's got to be, you're adding Montreal to Vancouver.
Yeah, no, it's about a 6. I'd say it's probably about a 6-hour flight. So.
Montreal to Vancouver flight time. 5:30 approximately. Oh, there's one 5 hours and 51 minutes. Oof. And for a tall man or like a big man like Dusty, like on an airplane for nearly 6 hours.
They better be putting him at the front of the plane in one of those nicer rows. Hey, just away from these CFL games for a minute.
Yeah.
Two things. Has anyone ever been busted for cheating worse than that CEO of that company that was with the HR lady at the Coldplay concert?
I brought it up to Trev before the lock shop.
Every fifth tweet on my thing is a picture of that guy. I mean, has anyone looked more guilty ever?
They played it the worst, if anything. So for those that don't know, there's this couple that was shown on the screen at a Coldplay concert in Boston yesterday. And immediately they notice that they're on camera. The female turns red and looks away as quick, like turns her whole body around. And the guy goes off camera by falling down. For those watching on YouTube, like all he does is he just drops down. He hits the deck as slowly as you possibly can to make it know, like anyone watching that is like, okay, something's going on here. And then the friend next to the lady turns beet red and she's laughing because clearly they're caught or something. And then the main lady, she walks away. They found out who this is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the CEO of some massive company and the lady is the VP of HR.
Yeah.
I
never Coldplay and like Chris Martin, they love like they promoting love and like take care of everyone. I don't think they realized that with one of these things they were going to be busting a cheating couple.
Well, and I think Chris Martin said, "Oh, they're cheating or just very, very shy."
It was funny because I went for a coffee, came and saw it when I was in the line at Tim Hortons. Came back, went on Twitter, and it was like two out of every three tweets all of a sudden were all about this thing. Like, there's no hiding this now. You are now just forever the couple that was at Coldplay.
Oh, yeah. They are getting aired out. And I would assume they're not from Boston. Because, I mean, if you're in your home city to be that lovey-dovey and over the top without being on camera was a little bit of a wild move. So anyways, that is just completely dominating my chat, the stream right now.
It looks like it's Cincinnati, Ohio. The company is based. Okay, but then I just Googled the company and it's just top stories. Who's Andy Byron? CEO faces cheating allegations, like from net worth to career graph, like just all sorts of stories on this guy now. And I just searched up the company name. So not a good look for them. Not a good look. But I will say this, Coldplay puts on an amazing show. I'm a Coldplay fan. If you like any of their songs, even just a couple, go see them if they're ever in town because they put on a good show just in general.
They were in Toronto. They did like 3 or 4 shows, I think.
Because they built a new like Rogers Stadium, it's called, or something out there. They built a concert venue just outside the city or something like that for bigger shows, and they put on like 4 straight nights. Apparently, logistic nightmare getting there. Just a disaster right now of getting in and out. But it was one of their first concerts at this new venue. But yeah, they did 4 shows out there.
It's a disaster getting everywhere in the GTA, for the record. So that is not surprising. Connor Rabchak, who works with us, he went to one of the shows. I should ask him about the logistics of getting out there. He was out in Toronto going to it. He's a big fan and seemed to really enjoy it. So, but yeah, no one was talking about the concert as much as what was happening in the stands last night. The other thing we have to address, yesterday was the deadest day of the sports calendar, which of course means it's the ESPYs. Shane Gillis took no prisoners last night. I mean, that might have been the most savage hosting job since Norm Macdonald. I can't think of anyone that was even close to, he was lining up the body and he was going to the left. He was hammering Trump. I mean, the business with the joke about the UFC, Trump's planning on having a UFC fight. at the White House. And he said the last time Trump planned a fight at the White House, Mike Pence almost got killed and then transitioned into a Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, I could not believe some of the cracks that he was dropping last night. I wonder whether he'll be invited back.
Well, clearly the crowd didn't like it fully. I like the one where he called out the WNBA MVP or whatever, 4-time MVP, and then it just ended up being his buddy's wife, and he just basically called out everyone for their fake love of the WNBA, and like it was so well done. And like it's like when Ricky Gervais was doing Golden Globes, I think it was. Yes, he was fantastic like. Year in and year out. And he kept coming back like, well, I don't know why they keep inviting me back. And then he would just roast them. You just have to laugh sometimes. And like, it's like, I'm not surprised by this, but like I just typed in Shane Gillis and, you know, story, sports pundit Sarah Spain slammed Shane Gillis over hacky jokes. And it's like, they're joke. Like, don't take comedy so seriously, people. It's okay to laugh at things. It's okay to laugh at yourself. It's okay to laugh at other things. Like it's funny. Like he went after everyone.
Yeah. He was not taking sides. He had a gun pointed at everyone on all sides of it. And
he took shot at Bill Belichick and his 23-year-old girlfriend or whatever it was.
That's like, the low-lying fruit of it all.
That's
that one crack he did about Caitlin Clark working at a Waffle House afterwards. That was full Norm Macdonald. Like that Norm somewhere was upstairs watching that joke, chuckling, going, I could have written that one.
Just one of those things where, like, if there's one thing we just need to be better at as a society, it's to allow people to just make jokes sometimes again and laugh at them, because jokes aren't that serious generally. And they can, you know, if you want to just take offense to that, then there is no comedy. I thought, like, I don't watch the ESPYs. I don't follow or care much about the awards or anything, but I love seeing the clips from Shane Gillis yesterday. But I will throw this out your way, because you said yesterday, deadest day in sports in North America. MLS is a full slate of soccer games that go yesterday. We got the ESPYs. Why wouldn't the CFL just make sure every year on the Wednesday they play a game? The day after the MLB All-Star Game, and get that on CBS Sports Network down south to try to get some U.S. eyeballs. You had 3 teams coming off of a bye this week. You could have scheduled, let's say, Montreal, Toronto.
Toronto would have been that game.
You could have not done the Thursday, or you could take the Sunday off this week or something and play on that Wednesday and try to get just a few extra U.S. eyeballs.
I like the idea, to be honest. I think it's a great idea. I'm not sure. I know that they don't want to go to Wednesdays regularly, yes, but you make a great point. Because of those bye weeks, it's absolutely doable. There's no issue with player safety. I think from a marketing perspective, just exposing more people to the league, I think it actually makes a lot of sense. That maybe that's something that the new commish, Stuart Johnson, can look at in the future.
Wednesday games and fantasy, season-long fantasy.
Yeah. What week would that be? I guess no, that would be the new week.
It'd be the new week. Start of week 7.
Just starting it early.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to say a little bit of breaking news from the NFL. Adam Schefter reporting, ESPN sources say a Dallas County judge just sentenced Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice to 5 years probation and 30 days of jail time that can be served during those 5 years stemming from his role in that multi-car crash in Dallas during the 24 off season. Now that the judge has ruled, the NFL can expedite its disciplinary process, and Rice is likely to receive a multi-game suspension. There was a lot of speculation that wasn't going to come until next season. But for you fantasy footballers, dynasty players, people doing their draft, and Chiefs fans, looks like they're going to be without Rashee Rice, I would imagine, right from the get-go of the season. And that could be anywhere from, I would imagine, probably 4 to 8 games, which is significant for the Chiefs and certainly for Rice and for Rice fantasy owners.
This also breaking the NFL from Adam Schefter. Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams' agent has informed the team last night that after 8 seasons, Mike Williams will be retiring from the NFL. He's walking away at the age of 30. That's a late time to be announcing your retirement. Twice eclipsing 1,000 yards. for the team. That's a tough hole to fill. On July 17th as you're going into the season. For fantasy owners, if you're thinking of he was going to be a keeper or something that you're going into the next season with, losing Mike Williams is a little bit rough too. But yeah, Mike Williams announcing to the Chargers that he's retiring at just the age of 30.
Well, was he planning on going back there or whatever? I mean, last year, of course, he was he split time. He was with the Jets, and then he got traded to Pittsburgh, I think, at the end of the season. I mean, we think of him as the...
Well, he signed a 1-year, $6 million deal in March.
You go back to the Chargers?
Yeah. And then on July 14th, he was placed on the PUP list, physically unable to perform. I didn't see that one. And now he informed that he will be retiring. So no, he signed in March a 1-year, $6 million deal to return to the Chargers. And now, I guess the plans were to have Mike Williams part of it, and now you're without him.
Hey, before I go, quick look, we got some pretty nice scores out at Royal Portrush at the Open Championship. We got 4 players at 4 under right now. Lucas Glover and Christian Bezadenheit are still on the course right now. Hao Tong Lee, Jacob Olsen, and my guy Matty Fitz all at 4 under. But look at the threes.
Yep.
Scotty Scheffler, Tyrrell Hatton, Rory McIlroy, Harris English, all right there. Ricky Fowler with the nice round, and Lee Westwood. Lee, he'll be the sentimental favorite at least for another round or two.
Well, it's a great part about the Open Championship is seeing the old guys do well. Phil's -1. He's tied for 20.
Phil, look at Phil. Sergio as well, right there. Former winner Zach Johnson. You often do. John Rahm's at 1 under. So no one's playing themselves out of the tournament just yet. Should be a lot of fun. They're on the back right now. I was all fired up with Justin Thomas. I got a piece of him at 60-1. He was 2 under through 8, and then boom, double bogey. But even par right now. We'll see what happens. Corey Connors, I know, was 3 over today.
Yeah, he finished 3 over.
I'm just looking to see. Nick Taylor's 3 over through 10. Pendy was 4 over. And what about Mac Hughes? Mac
Hughes
+8. Had a tough day at the office, +8. So there you go. We'll do some live stuff tomorrow based on where we're at, and then get ready for the weekend.
Absolutely. We'll set up a little more of Bombers stamps tomorrow as well. What's coming up on WSD?
Murat Atesh is going to jump on. We'll talk a little Jets off season, kick around the schedule a little bit more. Our buddy and pal Troy Westwood's going into the Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame, so Westy's going to come on. There's a Seabears game tonight, Joey Slattery, and my old pal Pat Steinberg.
Nice.
Steiny's going to come on, and we'll get his thoughts on the resurgence of the Calgary Stampeders heading into tomorrow's game.
Us will look forward to that coming up on WSD in just a few minutes, and we'll talk with you tomorrow.
Have a great one, folks.
There is Huss, WSD. Go check it out. Him and Remus. Reminder, play Alberta promo codes EST Sports. Deposit 20, get a free 50 bet. YEG 50, deposit 5, get a $50 free bet. For Lock Shop Partner Parlay today, I think I'm going to go with Riders straight up money line +120. Ticats -1.5 against the Red Blacks. And then the Bombers tomorrow, I think I'll bring it down to -2.5. With it at -3, it's +616. So you're probably going to see that drop down maybe +5 something. And then from there, we'll get a little bit of boost. So somewhere between +550 and 616, I would say. We'll get that up. So that'll be at EST Specials. Right now, early bird bet is up. Owls to win, Ticats -1.5. That's +121. Jay has also got his play of the day up there already. I'm going to let him talk about it on his show with Reed Wilkins, 3 to 6 right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. But you can get an early look at it if you just go to Play Alberta, playalberta.ca. Up next, it is 2 guys and a goalie, Reed and Gager. We've got EST Afternoons, Hernan and Reed. Hernan and Gager. And then we got EST, or the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne until 6 o'clock. Then we'll join in progress the Stingers as they are in action tonight as well. On behalf of Huss, I am Matt. Thanks for tuning into the Lock Shop here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Play Alberta. I'll talk to you tomorrow on the morning show. Up next, 2 guys and a goalie.